Okay, so thank you all for joining us today. As I've been mentioning the past few days, that today I'm going to be interviewing the one and only Hockett. And she's here in Dubai, and this is just one of the cities that she visits annually, where she comes in and does like a fasting retreat.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone has heard of the water fast. I'm very new to it, but I do hear it has a lot of benefits, and that's why we're here today to talk about what Anne does and how it's beneficial to us. All right, let's just see if anyone has any questions. Okay, so Anne,
Yes.
say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Lucy Bruce, for connecting the two of us.
Yes, so, Lucy, we love you.
Beautiful women changing the world, so thank both of you. Thank you.
So tell me a bit about you first, because where you are today is very different from where you were before.
Okay, so I guess the big win was I used to be well, and then I was unwell. Unfortunately, now I'm well again. And my background is in public health and medicine, and I had a real career in the United States. I worked for the Institute of Medicine, the Ford Foundation, the U.S. Secretary for Health, came to Asia and had a real life there as well, teaching medical students and other things.
Get closer so I can read the messages.
And life was going really well, and I kind of rounded the corner and ran into a baseball bat of unwellness. It was quite unexpected, and very quickly I ended up very, very seriously ill, and that whole story's on the website.
Okay, so how did you get into fasting? And if you can just briefly also explain, because a lot of people are asking, explain the water fast.
Okay. So let me just explain one thing, and that is the difference between fasting and cleansing. So we'll just clarify that first. So cleansing would be if I was trying to clean this beautiful home, I would be able to move around the table and the couch and the carpets and all of that and do a reasonable job cleaning the house. So that's a cleansing. And at that point in the physical body, we're still ingesting things, we're still digesting. So for example, I'm on day 5 of a juice cleanse, meaning all I'm doing is juicing.
Yes.
And so that's a cleanse. The difference between a cleanse and the fast is during the fast, the analogy would be that I would have some really strong folks come and move all of your beautiful furnishings out. I would be able to take a clean sponge and go corner to corner to corner and clean the entire space.
Okay.
And that's what's happening when we're fasting inside the body. And the other key point is that we are not digesting. So we turn off the digestive process, and we start with the mouth, and we go all the way down, if it's okay to call it the bumski. We go from mouth to the other end, top to toe. Okay, and that's fasting. And the other thing, people will often refer to a fast as a water fast. Now, there is something out there called a water fast, and in that process, you're only drinking water. I am not a proponent of that, and I'm sorry if I off-put anybody, but I'm really not a fan of that.
So we're not just going to be drinking water.
You're not.
Okay,
so what's going to
important.
happen, at least in the fasting program that I guide people through, is you're having a huge amount of liquid, which is water and coconut water going in, and you have 100% plant-based, non-GMO, no pesticides ever touched it, herbs going in that know how to protect the kidneys, the adrenal glands, the colon, the whole colon, and of course your liver as you go through this. So it's a very protected way of cleaning the body out, and that's what I'm a proponent of.
So can you just briefly take us through, so basically I cannot just decide on my own to be like, I'm going to do a water fast and just drink water for 7 days or whatnot.
Yes.
Just take me very briefly throughout one day during that fast.
Okay, great. You're making an excellent point straight up at the top of this, and that is I do not recommend that people just willy-nilly decide to fast or cleanse. It is a sacred process that takes in the integrity of the amazing intelligence of the body. So it's not something that we muck around with, if you will. And so it should be guided. It should not be done alone. I've been doing this for years, and I don't actually fast even myself on my own. And then in terms of what happens, so let's say on day 1, you have a schedule. It's funny because people always say, I never thought I'd be so busy doing nothing or not eating, but you have a schedule of herbs and things that go in on an every hour.
Herbs like as in proper, like
Correct,
herbs?
proper.
Okay.
So they all have a shelf life of about 30 days, and I put in pick-pack orders, so they're all fresh. Okay. And those herbs, like I say, are going in at a certain interval to try to, well, not try, to support the organs that are being detoxed, that are being cleaned out.
Cleaned out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And should we talk about the other things that you do as well during the water fast?
Yeah. So
cleanse?
Yeah. So during the fasting program, I mean, my mission really is to be redundant. And so I am trying to push out as much information as I can to people in a way that's really easy to digest, kind of pun intended, that allows them to be skilled up to take the best care of themselves that they have in a long time. So we talk about the history of fasting because I try to debunk the idea that this is some fad or some hippy-dippy thing. It's actually not. The clinical benefits of fasting, we talk about that. We look at the digestive system because my job is to return people to this sense of awe and wonder of how the body works. Because when we remember that, we treat the body differently. We talk about pH, which is probably my favorite thing to yabber-dabber on about because that is the chemistry of the body.
Exactly, I heard that's the ultimate. That's where everything gets into balance.
Yes.
Right?
So a body that is acidic is a body that kind of welcomes in unwellness, and a body that is maintaining pH or alkaline, which is hard to hold, is a body that kicks unwellness out. And so my sweet spot is working with people who are typically very ill. They've just been diagnosed. You sound terrible.
Sorry.
They've been diagnosed with something they don't want that starts with a C or it's digestive or it's heart related or inflammatory related. And so they need to clean the gut out because, as we've discussed, anywhere between 70 and 80%, but actually probably between 80 and 90% of all unwellness, whatever it is, originates in the gut. We've got to clean the gut out.
And so someone's asking how many days is enough for this water fast. Now, what I've heard is that, 7 days it does something, 20 days it does something. So can you just take us through the different...
Yep, good question. So thank you for the question. If you're just going to do a juicing cleanse, I would say do 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, maximum 4, and stop. Because if you... Or go like I am doing all the way to 7 or 10 or maybe even 19. I'm going to see how I feel.
When you say juicing, like normal juices?
Just juices.
Not what we're going to do.
We're not juicing at all.
No, we're not juicing.
For our program, we're just going to have water and coconut water and these herbs.
So what we're doing, just to recap, we're doing water, coconut water, and herbs and enemas.
Yeah, well, the fact that everyone loves that part, we'll get back to that. So if you're juicing, if you're just trying to cleanse, I would say do 1, 2, or 3, or even 4 days. And if you're going to go longer than that, then you have to get past day 6 or day 7 because this is when you're really, really toxic and the body's trying to get everything out. With a full fast, the analogy of moving all the furniture out.
So the proper cleansing, which is what we're going to do right now.
Right. And we'll call that fasting, just so we don't confuse people. So we're going to stop digesting, and we're going to take all the energy that usually goes to eating and preparing food and thinking about food, and we're going to let that energy remigrate around the body and begin to heal. Okay?
Yeah.
And so though a fast would be a 7-day minimum period of time. You can fast longer than that, and you can do 2 7-day fasts back to back, which is then a 14-day. I do not recommend that many people go much longer than that because the benefits for that run of the 7 days are really pretty good. Then we stop, we wait to see how the body responds, and if we need to, or if we're really, really sick, then there are other ways of continuing that fasting cleansing process that are really safe for the body depending on where the body is.
Okay, because somebody was telling me that if you do 7 days, it's more like of a diet and losing weight and whatnot, and if you go longer, it's more deeper to cure diseases and whatnot. Is that true?
It is true that the deeper we cleanse, the more likely it is that we're going to get on that healing path and be able to maintain wellness. Having said that, I've seen amazing results with lots and lots of people all over the world with the 7-day. And I have a process by which they actually see, now this is kind of gross, they see what comes out. I do that because it is your stuff, it is your life, it is your unwellness. And once we find the source of it and you see that, you are forever shifted and changed. And most people on day 1 are like, don't even talk about this. But by day 3, everyone gets really excited because they start seeing why they've been feeling either lethargic, unable to sleep, headachy, migraine-y, irritable bowel, leaky gut, hyperthyroid, whatever it happens to be. They begin to see the origin of that unwellness leave the physical body. And
so you get to see worms, I heard, and stuff.
Well, yes, she's really informed. The answer is yes. So even if we live in the penthouse and our feet never touch the ground, we have parasites.
I have an anaconda for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Inside my stomach.
That's a really sure. Well, we'll see. But they won't have a chance to stay. We won't get them all, but we'll get a lot of it.
We'll get a lot of them.
Yeah.
Someone's asking me if they have rheumatism. How?
As in rheumatoid arthritis?
Yes.
Okay, I love that one. That one's actually a really easy one for me. So rheumatoid arthritis, while it is a diagnosis, basically says to me that the body is highly acidic, and there are a few other things going on. Usually, I sound like a broken record, and I recommend that people fast first, and then we put a program together to figure out how best to follow them up so they can stay well and maintain that wellness without sitting and focusing 1,000% only on that.
So sorry, Shireen Yassa, this one's for your question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was back to Shireen.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I didn't answer it, then type some more and we'll figure out how to answer it.
Okay,
But
so she has to
rheumatoid
do the
arthritis,
fast. She has to do the fast first, and then we take it from there.
If we go down the more conventional side of medicine, we're going to be medicated for that. We're going to be giving the body things that are going to try to reverse that situation. But one thing that everybody hears over and over again in retreat is that there is not a single underscore, like I say this a bunch of times, there's not one chronic or degenerative disease for which Western medicine has a cure. Because what's happening is that form of medicine is treating the symptom. The form of medicine that I practice is treating
From
the
inside.
root cause. Yeah.
Okay.
So it can take us longer to understand what that is, but we're getting there pretty quickly. And so does a great homeopath, so does a great Ayurvedic, so does a great naturopath. There are people who know functional medicine. We're all practicing the same thing, where we're listening to the symptomology, but we're really trying to find out why. Why is this happening? Because if we don't treat it at this level, you're just going to continue to be unwell. And then you get so frustrated with yourself because you think it's your fault. Like, why can't I get better? And there's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with the approach, is what I would say.
Okay. Somebody's asking how many times every year?
Okay, great question. If you go onto the website, which is www.youhealing.org, and go into the fasting part, you're going to see a little quiz. If you take the quiz, sorry to dumb it down, you're going to get one of 3 scores. There's like a red light, which is, whoa, you answered yes to a lot of these, you really need.
Yeah, I answered
really
yes.
And you got a red light. You would really benefit from doing this. Second is a yellow light, which means, in good time, maybe in 6 months, whenever it works with your schedule, sign up. And if you get a green light, you're doing a great job, amazing, keep doing what you're doing, and you're well. And the analogy is a car. So however well you're driving the car and however expensive or not expensive the car is, stuff goes wrong with the car. So we take it to somebody who knows about cars and they clean it out and they fix it, and then we're back on the road.
Yeah.
How you drive that car after it's been repaired is up to you. And if you're driving with the gas and the brake at the same time, then that car is going to need to be repaired sooner, right? So people who are living the full life, and there's no halo over my head. So I'm not telling people that you can't drink or you can't eat meat, or that's not my job. I'm just trying to clean the body out.
And then it's up to us to do how we maintain what we've gone through.
And we talk quite pragmatically about that. So if you're headed out to a 30th birthday party or a 40th birthday party, I can tell you what to do so that you can go have the best time and then wake up the next morning and what else can you do there? Because I really believe that life is worth living and we're supposed to skid out of here having had a lot of fun.
Yep. Okay, so the name of the website is www.youhealing,
youhealing.org, because at the moment I'm a nonprofit.
Okay. It's a nonprofit, youhealing.org. And I'm going to put it also on my Insta story later. All right, 2 questions. So basically, to cure a disease, rheumatism or whatnot, you cannot do it on your own. You need a certain program sort of with a master and someone that takes you through it, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's kind of like walking up Mount Everest without having a guide. And
Okay.
I'm not tooting my horn. I'm just saying that people who do this should be in the hands of somebody who knows what they're doing.
Okay, Lucy says hello.
Hi, Lucy.
Hi, Lucy.
Thank you.
Okay, somebody told one of the viewers that if she has rheumatism, she needs to do the fast for 14 days. Like, that was the number that was given to her to come and join the program. And then in 14 days, she can get cured. True or false?
I'm going to say it depends, and it's going to sound like I never know what I'm talking about because I say it depends. Every body is different. Every body is different. It's possible that this person would come and in 7 days the RA situation would disappear. It's also possible that we would make huge progress towards it disappearing, but we have a couple of things to dust off, okay? I can say that without cleaning the gut out and without changing the pH, it is near high impossible to get on top of not only that condition, but a myriad of other conditions is what I can safely say.
Okay, so and to clean the gut, it takes seven days.
Yeah. So if I want to clean your house and have you come back in and go, wow, you get an A for cleaning my house, that's how I would clean your house. So the way that I do the 7-day fasting program is so that I get an A in your heart. I mean, I'm working really hard to show people how to do something that they can do many, many times, yes. Right?
And I heard that a lot of when I mentioned that I'm doing the fast, I had people tell me that they've done it before and they're doing it again because they really enjoyed it.
Yeah, isn't that funny that you enjoy not eating? But yeah, they feel better.
Most they
people
enjoyed it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was like, how?
Yeah, and I really busy them with exchanging a great deal of information that isn't then theirs, so that they can take great care of themselves and their families.
Okay, I have a question, actually. I have a few questions, but I just want to go through the fast again. You had mentioned to me that I need to sort of book appointments for reflexology, lymphatic massages, and so on. So can you just also, can I work out? How active can I be if so if you can just take me through that week. Do I have to stop my life and completely shift it? Just take me.
Great question. Okay, so I regularly fast semi and professional athletes, and they don't really stop. And I also regularly fast monks and nuns and CEOs and mothers, and you know where I'm going. And so the answer, it depends, is the relevant answer. So many people go through this and they still run 10K every day. Some people go through this and they stay on top of their email and they try to work as much as they would otherwise. I'm not a big fan of that, because the fasting process is a serious process. And the more we slow down, the more the body receives all the signals that, aha, I know what you're doing, I believe in what you're doing, I'm going to let go of everything I no longer need to carry. So busy people stay busy, and sometimes their results are impacted by that. I encourage people to slow down, outsource everything that's not mission critical, and yes, go get massages and all kinds of other treatments, because that is one of the ways that the lymph system dumps your toxins. And so when we do that, when we slow down, when we enjoy the process and don't resist it, and when we go get these sorts of body treatments, we see really excellent results, and people don't struggle very much as they go through. Certainly you're going to be a little bit tired.
Yeah,
you might be grumpy. You might be grumpy as sin, I don't know. But all of this would be considered normal in the work that I do.
Okay, because you also said, is there going to be any meditation involved? Because this is like sort of a body, mind, and soul journey.
Yeah. So when I get to host you all in Bali, I get to really dazzle you and sprinkle you with magic dust.
Bali.
Yeah, because that's the whole experience. My retreat place is in the jungle. All you hear are birds chirping and cicadas, and it's gorgeous. And you book in for massages, and you go for temple ceremonies, and whatever it is that you want to do. But it's the full body immersion. And here, yes, meditation is a loaded word, just like God is a loaded word. And so what I do is I teach people how to breathe, and I teach a kind of breath work that is clinically proven to reduce stress, as in bring the body from an acid-producing state into a neutral or alkaline state, which is really important. It saved my life.
Someone said you look like a famous actress.
Oh, who?
Who?
Yeah,
she better be beautiful.
I'm kidding.
Okay. In your blog, you mentioned the kite analogy as the key to
everything.
What do you mean the kite? Like
yeah.
Okay.
So is it okay if I take a couple minutes here?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this I really care about. Like, this is the most important thing I can impart to someone. The kind of healing and medicine and health that I practice is predicated on messages from the body. The reality in my mind that the body is talking to us all the time. He or she is knocking at our door and saying, hello, you need to slow down, or you need to pay attention to this childhood wound, or you need to make amends in a relationship, or whatever it happens to be. And so the kite analogy is this. If you're flying a kite, you see the kite in the air, and that kite is the physical manifestation of unwellness. That's the cancer, that's the autoimmune disease, that's the leaky gut, the ingrown toenail, whatever. And we can touch it, palpate it, measure it, CT scan it, MRI, blood test it, whatever. It's real, it's touchable, okay? That's the physical manifestation of unwellness. But just like a kite, we have a string that holds the kite in the air. That string is what I call the emotional underpinning to the unwellness. How have we been living, loving, working, and being of service? And any client out there is laughing because I say this a million times. How are we living, loving, working, and being of service? That's the emotional underpinning. That's what got us to the physical manifestation of unwellness. And then we have the spool, the thing that holds all of the string. And that is the connection to self, to universe, to the belief that we are safe, that we can trust, that we are worthy of being loved. And some of my clients who come in and they're quite unwell, let's say they've been told that they're terminally ill, we get to the spool as fast as we can. We look at the symptoms, we look at how they've been living, loving, and working and being of service, but I got to get to what really went wrong in their lives. And when we get there, or here, if it's as light as that, I see healing whole and complete. Because as soon as we align the physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of wellness, as soon as we get all wheels in the Ferrari headed forward, miracles happen. I see them all the time, which is why I love what I do. So that's the kite.
I can't wait till I fix my problems.
And really quickly, while you're looking at on the website, you'll also see a blog on that where I actually give you some case studies of what I mean by that. What kinds of unwellnesses fit that pattern, and how do we unpack them, and how do we just moksha them or let them go or release them? And again, I see it all the time. I see the most intractable go.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we already spoke about, you know, how busy we can be throughout the fasting, but also I hear different, you know, that there's some, like actually a few people said that on day 1, day 2, day 3, you feel super lethargic, but you know, day 4 you're actually extremely hyperactive because you feel light and you're clean. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
It's funny, in Bali, every time we reach day 4, there's this beautiful rain that comes in the morning. It's as if we're being cleansed by the heavens. And so often on day 1 we think we're starving, but that's up here because obviously we've gone a few hours.
It's not up here, it's everywhere. I'm starving just thinking about it.
And we haven't even started. So
no. Yesterday I ate the universe.
True. A lot of people front load, right? I'm going to fast. I'm going to eat everything I possibly can. But usually you're not starving. Most people aren't. You can again look at the testimonials on the website because there's some herbs going in that help you with that. So day 1 might be some mental construct struggling. Oh my gosh, I'm starving. And then day 2, especially if you're embracing it, you might be headachy, you might be tired and lethargic because your body's going, yay, you're doing this, you love yourself. And it more readily brings toxicity to where we're going to bring it out of the physical body. And that can just make you tired because the body is trying to say, please slow down. What you're doing is really important and we love you. I love that you're doing this. So the body will try to slow you down. Okay? And then by day 4, often a lot has come out that is associated with past living, loving, working, and being of service, or not living, loving, working, and being of service. And people can feel so deeply connected. In Bali, they'll roll in and they'll say, Anne, a dragonfly followed me on my motorbike here, or they're like 9,000 shades of green, and I love my mother-in-law, drives me crazy. And they've lightened up. And we can't, the reason that I do this, 1, it's a space of miracles, and 2, if I'm in pieces, I'm of no value to anyone, myself, my family, my community, or the planet. And when we clean out and when we reconnect to the divinity that is this life, and when we start to claim space and do something that's important, we can change ourselves, our families, our community, and the planet. And so while it sounds kind of kitschy that we're fasting, I think maybe just talk to those who've done it and see how
it is.
How they do really shift, and they become far more conscious and aware of how they're living.
Do you lose weight?
Yes, you do.
How? Like how?
Yeah. Okay, so the answer is the bigger you are, the more you lose. The smaller you are, the less you lose, because we want to maintain that good corporeal weight. I don't do this for people to lose weight. It's not about that, but it is a nice outcome.
Yeah, I've actually seen Lucy. I mean, she's already very, very, very tiny frame, and she's very fit. She's very fit. But as well, like, you could just see the definition by day 7. It's insane, as if you've been working out 3 hours a day.
Usually when people finish, other people come up to them and say, oh gosh, have you gone on a holiday, or are you seeing someone, or did you get your hair done?
Yeah, Lucy lost 7 kilos.
Yeah. And then Lucy can probably type in, so what will happen, if you're big, you'll lose more, and if you're small, you can still lose a fair amount. And then what will happen is the body will come back to what is an appropriate weight. The weight that we're losing is not water weight, and it's not muscle weight, because it's too fast for us to atrophy, and you'll be drinking a whole lot, and I'm on you about that. And so the weight that we're losing is really internal weight, which is disgusting. I don't need to elaborate on it.
Really?
Yes. So you're going to lose pounds of what's called mucoid plaque. Sorry for the P word again, but parasites. A lot of what's called impacted fecal matter, which is old poop. And there's a study in the U.S. that people over the age of 40, it's disgusting, are carrying anywhere between 6 and 8 pounds of that. And it's really important that we move that out. So the weight that we're losing is more internal weight. And the glow that we have is because we've released the toxins that are causing these bags under our eyes, or the white tongue, or the, I just can't wait to jump down your throat for something you didn't even do, right? I mean, these emotional states are coming from this physical state.
Okay, however, because every time I do some sort of like a detox, I won't say cleanse, juicing, and I lose, for example, 1 or 2 kgs in those 4 or 5 days, the minute I start eating again, I gain the weight again. Is this the same case? Is this the same way? Like, am I immediately, once I start putting food into my stomach, am I gonna gain the kilos I've lost?
Okay, so the answer again to be annoying is it depends.
Oh.
So if the weight that you lost is the weight that you should lose, and that weight should stay off, then I can walk you through how to maintain your best weight, your best gut's health. Because when the gut is healthy, weight is easily managed. Okay, and I know this from my own, as I turn the corner, I'm 57, so as I went into the M word, I used to be able to eat the entire refrigerator, and now I can't. Okay, so my metabolism has changed.
Like, does it slow
down?
down?
The other M word was menopause. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So metabolism slows down after you do the fast? No.
While you're fasting, we're not digesting anything at all.
Yes.
Okay. And so for someone like you, what we need to do is get to the original reason why the gut is not well.
Yeah.
Begin to clean that out. And then if the 1 week isn't enough for someone like you, then, and for other people who might have something that actually has a diagnosis to it, then we look at how to come out of that fast and what else to do to keep the gut really healthy.
Okay.
But when the gut is well, when the gut is rocking and rolling the way it should, the whole body, physical, emotional, and spiritual, will reflect that.
Okay, so basically after I'm done with this fast, I need to obviously be able to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
Yes. Well, I mean, you can choose not to. Let's say you want to go back to have.
No, but if I've gone through something this drastic, I need to obviously take care.
Yeah, that's my job. Is to make you really want
Thank
to,
you.
and to make it really easy for you to do it. That's my job.
Okay.
And if it doesn't finish in a week, most of the people who've ever done this say that I'm pretty reachable for the rest of my life, and for as long as I'm here, that's the service I'm meant to be. Okay. So I don't just dump you at the end and go,
changing
thank you.
lives right here, changing lives. Okay, somebody asked just a quick recap of what we've done, what we're talking about. So basically, we're talking about doing a fast, and basically this fast is sort of a retreat that Anne does all over the world, and she comes to Dubai how many times a year?
This time I'm coming twice because it was on my way to and from Christmas in the States. So
she's
double lucky.
Double lucky. We're double lucky. And basically you consume water, coconut water and herbs, and you do enemas. And basically it's a 7-day thing where you properly cleanse, restart, and reboot your system.
Yes.
Did I say it right?
It's perfect, A. And then in addition to that, you are given a whole bunch of information that helps you guide your life forward in ways that are really easy for you to do. That's my job, make it easy.
Do you do it in Australia?
I do. I'm supposed to be going back to Melbourne. The dates for Melbourne haven't been picked yet.
Okay, so yes, and she also does it in Bali, which is quite close.
Mm-hmm.
So how can someone know? They just need to keep checking the website.
Yeah, just go onto the website, and thanks to the amazing work of Tam Kajabi and Alicia, who helps me out. Hello.
Hi, Mama.
Who helps me out in Bali. We're trying to stay on top of all that. But yes, the retreats are listed there. And the other thing I do is I kind of go wherever I'm called. And thanks to Lucy, I came to Dubai. What? Do you want some water?
It's water. It's not carrot juice.
I know it looks like carrot juice because it's in an orange pitcher.
You want to? You left the whole. Okay, can you say hi to my friends?
Hi.
Here.
Over there.
Hi.
Can they see you, or are you off screen?
Hi.
There's your handsomeness. There you go.
Okay.
So yes, on the website you'll see where the retreats are already scheduled, and the other thing I'm doing a lot more of in 2019 is wherever I'm called to go, I go. And that means that somebody says, I have a group, please come to wherever, whether it's Boston or Beirut, and I do what I can to make that happen.
Okay, sorry, so two things. We're gonna, the website is...
www.youhealing.org.
I'm gonna post it again at the end of the live. Somebody's asking about celery juicing.
Okay. The most important thing about celery juicing is that the celery that you're juicing has to be organic. Celery is on the top of the list of the 16 bozo no-nos not to buy organic. Why? Because all of the celery, the thing that we're eating, has been exposed to its environment, meaning any pesticides, any whatever's been done to the soil or the water or what's making that grow. So celery juice in and of itself can be a very good thing, but it's only a really good thing if what you're juicing is a high quality, organic, non-GMO'd item.
Okay.
That's true for any plant.
And so basically, if you have it on a daily basis, if I wake up or for breakfast or throughout the day, if I have celery juice, this would help. I mean, I heard it actually cures.
Yes. So the answer
diseases.
is it depends. So if somebody's doing celery juice and they're feeling really good, how do you know if you're feeling good? Bump up in energy, no abdominal distension. Great. Celery juice is fantastic for you. If you're drinking it and you're not feeling any better, or you're feeling a bump down in energy or abdominal bloating, distension of the belly, not good for you. Why is it not good? The answer to that isn't because celery juice is bad for you, it's because there's something else going on in the gut. And when anybody says one thing is a cure-all, it really negates the miracle of the human body, right? So it's a very complicated system, all of these things that are working for us, okay? So, yes, celery juice is great. Make sure it's organic. See how you're feeling after you're juicing and consuming it. Best thing you can do in the morning is drink something about this big. That's not carrot juice. That would be water with lemon in it and maybe a little bit of apple cider vinegar, a little Himalayan sea salt.
Does that really help?
It really does. It first, it begins to clean the system out. It resets the acidity level, so that, and you'll know because you'll be testing your own pH every day during the fasting program. So you'll know what your pH is.
Okay.
And then you can do that for the rest of your life. It'll cost you $3.95.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. You just buy them in any pharmacy.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, amazing. So I'm going to share all of that with you guys once I start my fasting course that I'm really excited about. Somebody's asking if the water fast, which you don't like to call it the water fast because it's not purely a water fast, but is it okay to do it in 3-day intervals? Is that beneficial in any way?
Okay, so I want to come back and just say the water fast, which is a term being used for drinking only water, in my opinion, for whatever that's worth, is not safe. I would never do that. I would never recommend that someone do that. It can really demineralize the body and cause all kinds of problems, including sickness and death. So I would not do just water ever. In terms of a 3-day, that's what's called intermittent fasting. If you are well and you're feeling rocking and rolling and you're living, loving, working, being of service the way you want to be, you're good. Intermittent fasting is a great idea. The evidence-based medicine behind that is solid. But that is not a fast. Okay, that's intermittent fasting. With intermittent fasting, the thing about it is the reason why it's being recommended is because it hyper boosts your immune system. It gets the body ready to fight off anything, right? But if we're intermittent fasting all the time on a very regular basis, then when we do get sick, heaven forbid, the body goes, yeah, whatever. The immune system took it, right? Because we've been doing this too much and the body is not receiving the alert system. So I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. I'll talk a lot about it when we meet in retreat. I'll explain it. I will bring it down to its basic elements and tell you how you can do this going forward.
And it really helps in weight loss.
It helps in weight management, it helps in weight loss, it helps in health and wellness. But you want to do it the way that's appropriate for your body, given where you are on the highway of health and wellness. I don't know.
Okay.
Right? It depends.
Okay.
Yeah. And anybody who tells you that there's, like I say, one answer for anything, if there were,
we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you tell everyone? What do you want everybody nowadays, with our busy schedules, with all the junk we eat, with all the different diets that get thrown at us? I'm realizing every season there's a new diet. Oh my God, cut carbs, cut fat, cut this. What is it that you want people to know?
Okay, I'm just going to write a note down because I don't want to forget to say one thing. Okay, so there is no one answer to that.
Sorry, can I just so I just found this, my kids, Yusuf and Yusuf, poop.
Yeah.
Very.
When I came in, remember that I said that kids will tell you exactly what they're doing. It's like that little do I need to know.
I don't know why. It's very relevant though to what we're talking about. Pooping.
It is very relevant. Okay, so your good question is, say it again.
So basically, what is it that you would want everybody to know, especially in this day and age where we're constantly changing our diet, constantly, different diets are thrown at us. We think we're eating healthy because we're told it's fresh food, but it's still fried. It's still this. Does that make it not healthy? With the whole probiotics and glutamine and all of that. If you can just
because I'm not really bright. I tried to write down what you were saying, so I actually answer your question. Okay. So the answer to in this day and age, a lot of the research coming out now is suggesting that honestly, no matter how we eat and beverage, it's not going to be enough. Why? Because we have a lot of ambient toxicity in the environment. That could be flying on an airplane, filling your car or motorbike with gas. So cleaning the body out is now, and has been, I think, since time immemorial by many of the religious processes, been known to be a really good idea. Okay, so in this day and age, it's an even better idea. Different diets. Yes, there's all kinds of stuff coming out, and again, if there were one way to do this for everybody, then we'd have this nutted and we wouldn't be talking anymore. So the answer is that each body is different, and the sensitivities for each body are different. But the main thing is to eat in a way that you feel very energetic and that you feel light and able. And if you don't feel that way, then however you're eating or beveraging is not right for you. And that takes some sleuthing and some unpacking to figure out. And a lot of my clients will do an eating and drinking journal. So they write down everything. And usually in that, it's really obvious. Take this out, add that in.
Okay.
The principle of living that I practice is what's called crowding out. So I'm not going to take away your goodies and your chocolate cakes and your cappuccinos and your wine. I have no halo over my head. I do all those things. What I'm going to encourage people to do is bring the good stuff in, and ideally before like 11, 12 in the morning. Do all this, which I explained in the retreat process, and you're good. Go misbehave if you want to, okay? Because we've already done what we need to do. So in this day and age, you got to clean out. There is no one way to eat or drink. It depends on your own body. The other thing I would say is that there are 5, hopefully I can remember now that I've held up 5 fingers, 5 kind of bozo no-nos. So they are anything with more than 5 ingredients is probably not a great idea. Because, second one, it's going to have ingredients in it that you can't pronounce. They have 6 syllables and they have an een or an ate or a mate at the end of it. And those are oftentimes known carcinogens. What does that mean? They cause cancer, and we know that. Okay? So more than 5 ingredients that we can't pronounce. If it has a shelf life of more than 5 days. So remember when you go to Europe and you buy that bread, that real bread, and if you don't eat it by that evening, you could play baseball with it, right?
Yes,
It's that beautiful baguette that's super hard. Why? Because it has no preservatives in it. It's real food, okay? And same thing like when we have pastas in places where they're made fresh, right? We feel really good. So that leads to highly processed, so a shelf life of more than 5 days. And the other 2 are if it comes in a can. You've heard me probably on my Instagram posting that cans are a real problem for us. They're causing some heavy metal toxicity. The lining of a can is a problem. And also cans are full of both salt and sugar. And they're full of things like fake sugars and MSG, which we all know is bad for us. Last thing is if your grandmother didn't know about it, didn't feed it to you, it's not food. Like Grandma knew about corn chips in Mexico because they made them.
Yes.
But she didn't have,
My grandma didn't know about that either.
Neither did mine. I grew up in the south of the United States. My grandmother didn't either. But, if it's fish flavored or chicken enhanced, it's not real. It's not real food. So those are the 5 things I would say to try to stay away from as you're wanting to move forward with greater vitality.
Okay. There are just two questions. Somebody is asking me to reintroduce you.
Oh.
So if you can just quickly tell them what is it that
what would
you
you
do.
say? You introduce me.
Oh.
I'm a mother. I have 2 gorgeous daughters. I've been married to the same man for 31 years.
She changes lives. That's what she does.
I try.
She travels around the world. So Anne was actually in the medical sector for how long?
I've been at this for 33 or 35 years. I've been throughout the spectrum of health and wellness.
Yes.
Yeah, including being an investment banker, funding hospitals and blood banks and eye centers in India and whatever.
And you got...
I got sick.
Yeah, she got sick, and that's when she turned into this kind of healing. And thank the Lord and thank this kind of healing, she's been healed. And that's what she's doing, going around the world now and basically trying to heal everybody that has any kind of diseases or unwellness. And she said that 80 to 90% of physical and mental unwellness originates in the gut. So in order to be healthier, we need to sort of cleanse, restart, and reboot our gut. Correct? Is that anything?
Yes. Okay, so the 2 things I would just say is, as this happened to me, I was a Western medical snob. I didn't even know that we were just treating symptoms. So I think the fact that it happened to me was an epiphany for me. And I wouldn't have believed it unless it happened to me. But once it happened to me, if you said, we're going to cut your nose off, if you don't deny that, I can't. It's now my truth. And so I've traveled all over the world trying to skill me up to be better able to pass this on to other folks. Because I'm tired of picking people up all bent and broken down here. And I'm trying to push some really obvious technology and process back up so that we don't have to end up all bent and broken. Yeah. The other point I want to make is that I don't do anything. I don't heal people. I simply turn on the energy that is them. And that's why it's called YouHealing. It's you who does it. And the other thing I would say, which is sometimes I'm asked, like, if you wanted everybody to know one thing, what would it be? And I often tear up at this point because my mission is to remind people, to bring them back to the reality that you are a miracle. It's taken a long time to get you from a single-celled organism to this human being that you are, with a heart and with compassion and with eyes. And people forget that as they go through life, and they think that they're small. And my job is not only to remind you that you're walking around in a miracle, but you are a miracle. And that when you choose to believe that, or let me hold that for you until you come to that awareness yourself, healing is always possible. And in that space, I see it all the time. So it's really the miracle that has always been you and is you, but we forget.
Okay, sorry. So I've heard that everybody's also having a similar approach. Does she have a view on that? What about homeopathy?
Love it.
You love
so my
it.
original training is
okay.
Yes.
Sorry. So before coming to this question, somebody else said, how to manage symptoms of detoxing, where, for example, you have headaches. Some people get nauseous, whatnot.
Okay.
And the other question is, what is your view on homeopathy versus what you do, and is it in parallel? Do they work in parallel?
Okay, so remind me the second part. I'm going to hit the first part first, I think, if I can remember. So what I like is anybody that you go to when you're not well, who asks you this...
I will save it. I will save this live.
Okay, so if you're not feeling well and you go see anybody, the tea person on the corner or the most famous doctor in London, if they don't ask you about you, how you're living, loving, working, being of service, and they don't ask you what you're eating and what you're drinking, go find somebody else. Because for me, 60 to, let's say, 100% of what's actually going wrong nuts down to that. Okay? What are you eating, what are you drinking, and how are you living? But now, oftentimes, our people who are trying to help us are so busy they don't ask that question. We just go get a CT scan.
Yes.
So any form of medicine or healing or body work in whose hands, in whose company you feel safe, empowered, better for having gone to see them, keep going to see those folks because they're all really good. And like I say, that can be from homeopathy to functional medicine to a good naturopath, any number of people out there who really do know how to unpack what's going on in the body. Second question, I think, if I remember, was how do we manage the symptoms?
No, sorry. So back to because I just feel like we didn't answer it completely. So I can basically fast do so this comes hand in hand, like, is this part of it? Do you know what I mean? So for example, someone in my case, I haven't been feeling well for a very long time with my gut, so I'm gonna do this fast, and I God forbid if I don't feel better, you do advise that I also take that road rather than go back to my medication.
Like I say, if I just fasted and then ran away, that wouldn't be a very professional thing for me to do. So I'm with you for as long as it takes to sort it out. And then my other job is to try to care concierge, to get people around you, good people around you, because I don't live in Dubai, who can really take you forward. And part of that is to turn you on so that you're the best scientist about what's going on with you. So that requires a pen and a piece of paper, really expensive objects, to write down what you're doing and how you're feeling, and there's a little spreadsheet that goes with that. And from that, we can usually find out. But if someone's unwell, they need a care team.
Yeah,
And they need to really look at what they're doing and how they can make tiny, tiny, manageable changes along the way to greater health.
Okay, managing symptoms of detox, nausea, headache.
Okay, so
hopefully I won't have any of that.
Well, you will. Oh. Okay, everybody does. So anybody who's a client out there is laughing because here come my hands, right? And they already know what I'm going to do. So life is like this. If I wake up and I have a sore throat, which I did when I first arrived in Dubai, and I go, oh my gosh, I have a sore throat. How am I going to do this? How am I going to speak? Resistance. That's resistance, okay? Something happening and resisting it equals suffering. That's sort of Buddhism in a nutshell. But if I wake up with a sore throat or a muscle ache or a headache or whatever because I'm fasting, and I don't resist it, I heard that Anne said, not crazy, but Anne said that these are just symptoms to maybe expect, and everything's going to change because nothing stays the same. No resistance, no suffering. Okay? And that mentality in the fasting week makes it all so much easier. But also, I'm yabbing at you all day long. We're talking, we're laughing, we're sharing. You kind of forget that suddenly it's 4 or 5 or 8 o'clock at night, and you're not hungry. You just go to bed, and you wake up and start the process the next day. And I'm with you, virtually or however, to support you through the way. What are the major symptoms? Muscle ache, slight headache. Some people will have a full-grown migraine, but maybe 5 in my total practice. People get really ornery. I don't know if that word is a word here, but they get really itchy twitchy, and I love that because that means that we're about to birth a major parasite or a sac of parasites. So those emotional
you could get quite moody.
You can get quite cranky, but that's good, right? So cranky, no resistance, that means parasites. Then we just flush out the parasites and we feel a lot less cranky.
Okay. Hi everybody. Okay.
She's turning
Thank
sideways
you.
'cause the-
So, yeah, because I put it this way. I'm not very technologically smart. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. What else did I want to ask you? What if somebody wants to do this fast? However, unfortunately, you do not do the course in their country. Is there a way they could do this online with you virtually?
Yeah, so the answer is yes. There is an online version of this, and then with the online version, what I do is I insist that they check in with me once or twice a day, either virtually or we set a meeting time for that, because I never want somebody to do that remotely. But I do have to say that the best case scenario is that that person puts them first and makes a move to get to wherever they can to be in group, because the outcome in group is just like this compared to trying to do this on your own. I do that. I started doing that with people who were really unwell and could not travel. They had to stay wherever they were.
Okay, fair enough.
So it depends, and then what I do is I need to talk to the person and see where they are on that spectrum and whether or not it's a good idea.
Okay, so do you have anything else you want to tell everybody?
Thanks for listening. And like I say, you're the only one who can make you better. You're the only one who can heal you. And in order to do that, you just need to get the right people around you, unpack what is going wrong, and make these tiny, tiny changes to go forward. Having said that, fasting, I never thought I would be doing this. Believe me, I never thought I would be doing this. But it is one of the most effective, efficient, inexpensive, safe ways of beginning a new beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to be doing it, and I'm going to be sharing everything with you guys. And I'm also going to be putting her website. Yes, I will. I'll post her info. I'll post the website. I already posted the quiz, but I'm going to repost it. So for those of you who are interested to know whether or not you need to do this fast, please do the quiz. And if you have any questions, please do reach out to me or Anne on her blog.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to encourage people, right? That doesn't mean build my business. It just means encourage people.
This is also a non-profit organization. So yes, it costs money to do it, because it obviously costs her money to buy all the material that's required to give us.
Well, however, can I elaborate on that just a little bit?
Please.
Because as I said to you earlier, I was trying to figure out who you are and you were trying to figure out who I was. But when we connected on the human level, that we're both trying to be of service, and we really are trying to be of service. Try being the underlying word. What I'm doing now is I provide this kind of care for people who can't afford it in a variety of developing countries. I also will fast for the first time people under the age of 25, and I do a lot of work with people who are moving through addiction to major street drugs or alcohol or gambling or pornography or whatever it happens to be. So addiction is another sweet spot for me. And I also fast, interestingly, people who can afford to do this, doctors and nurses. And I do that in multiple countries because a lot of medical professionals still greet me like that, and that's cool. I can deal with a cynic. But my job is to try to show them what this is, because without seeing it and experiencing it, they have no idea. And frankly, no one's trained in any of this in most medical schools. So all of that is free of charge, and so far I haven't taken anything out to pay me a salary. It just all goes back to that kind of support. And I really do care a lot about this group of people, particularly between about 14 and 25, because they're suffering oftentimes terribly with depression, with anxiety, with I'm not good enough, with the world. They're worried about the world. And again, once we can clean this gut out, I see a lot of that anxiety and depression move. And that really, because it affects their performance in school, which is their self-esteem and self-worth. And so I really appreciate bringing this to younger people.
Oh, can I just give you a hug? Thank you. You're amazing. Thank you. So this is an angel right here. Thank you so much, Anne.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I hope you all really benefited from this, and I hope you all don't have any problems, but you need to clean your gut anyway. Right?
Okay, we hope it's an easy week for you next week, or not so tough at least, yeah?
Yeah, hopefully. I'm going to be saving this live, so please tell your friends to check it out if you think anyone you know needs to know more about this. Yes, I'm going to save it. All right. Bye.
Thank you.